Hello and welcome to a reading for the ENTP. Hi, my name is Brandon Curtis Demery and I am an MBTI certified practitioner who has created this channel, Entpgathering, for a place of exploration of other typology systems, but also a place where you, a member of the MBTI community, can come and spend time with me in an exploration and discussion about the cognitive functions through the mediums of tarot, oracle, divination, sacred numerology, and the cognitive functions theory, the individuation theory and process developed by Carl Jung. So, without further ado, let me explain how best to utilize this time together as an intuitive exercise. So, as an ENTP, you know your dominant function is extroverted intuition, your auxiliary function is introverted thinking, your tertiary function is extroverted feeling, and your inferior function is introverted sensing. What I'm about to show you is a means of developing a stronger ability to flex your cognitive functions, which I kind of look at as lenses that each of the four functions, and there are only four. We'll talk about introversion and extroversion that create the eight in a second, but they're just four for the purposes of this reading and this exercise. It's good to understand that. And in what order and what polarity it has a lot to do with how we use them. So, as you know, as a dominant function, this is where we really like to live at the expense of our inferior function, which for the ENTP is introverted sensing. Introverted sensing is going inside. It's meditation. It is exercise for the body. It's breathing meditation. It's sleep, getting enough of it, and quality sleep, rest, and contemplation. Usually, returning back to memories from the past that the ENTP, with extroverted intuition as their dominant function, we don't really have a lot of interest in going back to the past. Certainly, if it has been challenging, and if you're an ENTP like me, you had an early childhood or a life up till now that has been challenging, to say the least. Just think about all of the brilliant minds and the great leaders, artists, politicians that have been ENTP or have been typed by the general public. And I think there's a general consensus that, we can consider, for example, Einstein an INTP or an ENTP, Tesla an INTJ, Carl Jung, Catherine Cook Briggs, both INFJs, and Isabel Myers, INFP. The way I use or look at my own cognitive flexing is I don't prescribe to the theory that our MBTI is it. I feel that it's, and see it to be what it is. And for me, it is your egoic cognitive preferences. Your MBTI, let me say it again, whether that's ENTP, INFJ, ISFJ, INTP. The 16 types are showing you your ego's preferences for the cognitive functions. I'll also share with you that I firmly believe that there are a shadow set of functions. For the ENTP, for you, that would be the function stack of the INTJ. I also believe that there is, if your MBTI is your ego preferences, then you have a shadow self, a term that Jung coined. The ego's shadow is that place that has a, I don't know, I think people are afraid of it because they don't understand it, but if you've done the work like Carl Jung did through the individuation process, or if you're a Joseph Campbell fan or follower, even Alan Watts, you know the story of the hero's journey. Odysseus, the Iliad, the tarot and the hero's journey are one and the same. The major arcana in the tarot is the story of the hero's journey. And then the other cards, 16 court cards, are comprised of a king and a queen, a knight and a page. And then you have 44 minor arcana. So today I'm going to be using, without further ado, because we're 7 minutes in, I'm going to be using the Synchronicity Oracle. I'll pull 3 cards, which will represent either recent, past, present, and future energy. We'll look at what image is connecting them, and that will give me more information. You can also think of the first 3 cards as the first house, second, and third house of your zodiac chart. You can also think of it as the first 3 energy centers, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. You can think of 3 of anything, a limitless amount, because 3 is the first number in numerology that can actually create, in this case, a pattern. To have 3 things you can create: Father, Son, Holy Spirit, if you want to connect it to religion. But 3 is a very creative number, along with 6 and 9. And so if you want to know your numerology and your astrology, I would recommend you go to any of the free websites like astro.com or astroseek.com, where you can plug in your information, create a profile, and get all of this information, and then come back to the reading and use it and see what synchronicities match up, because that is what you should be looking for. If you're new to tarot, if you're new to these readings, I will not edit them. They won't be edited for content or any digressions that I make in my conversation or the information that I'm sharing with you. If I lose my train of thought, we're going to keep it in here, because you will be able to see how an ENTP thinks and behaves and acts, and especially one who has been through the individuation process, and somebody who identifies as an INTP as their reported type, but ENTP is their best fit type. I'm a triple Taurus. Actually, I have 4 planets in Taurus, and they're all significant planets. 2 of them are in my first house. That's rare. But my big 3, Sun, Moon, and Rising, are all in the sign of Taurus. It just so happens that on the so-called Enneagram, I'm a tri-type of 3, 6, 9, and my Enneagram type is actually a 3 or maybe a 6 or maybe a 9. I have a lot of fluid movement around those 3, and I think that is the key to the so-called Enneagram that practitioners of it and coaches of it, writers on it, haven't shared with you, but I am now. If you are a fan of the Enneagram, which you most likely are or know about it because you are a member of the MBTI community, please know that the 9 types are the first 9 signs of the zodiac, or the first 9 houses of the zodiac. Yep, astrology. All right, so I've got 2 cards out here and the connecting image. In the first image, you have the third eye chakra symbol. You've got pi, the symbol pi. You have 0 here. That's not a racetrack. You got the Buddha, bullseye, the anchor, and looks like crystals. But the connecting is the bullseye. And then connecting so that's in your, right now, this bullseye, maybe it's this reading. You're like, wow, this is something new. I hope that is the effect on you, that truly, as a member of the MBTI, especially if you're an intuitive dominant, these readings that I will do for you, and I'm going to start with all of the intuitive dominants, so all 8 or half of the MBTI, and then I'll move on to sensors once I can gauge how we do with one another, being intuitive dominants. Because this is, I found, through my individuation process, and so did Carl Jung. He used tarot, he used divination to further develop his notice, his use of the synchronicities in his life. So when I say synchronicities, I showed you these images. Maybe you're into archery, or maybe you're about to go out on the boat today, or maybe you've got that test to take care of, or maybe you're for your heart's sake, green is associated with the heart chakra, you need to get out and do your 50 miles on your bike because you're a cyclist. Connecting that is the bullseye in this card. This is the sacral. This is the center of, or the second house. This is about resources. This is about our sacred sexuality, if we're talking sacral chakra, and also where our creativity comes from. So we go from a smaller image of the bullseye to a slightly larger in this card with Sagittarius, the archer, fire energy, and ruler of the 9th house, along with Thoth, who is also known as Hermes Trismegistus, so representing 3rd house energy, thought, wisdom. Thoth works with, and we see Thoth again in the 3rd card. Works with Anubis, Isis, Sekhmet, and Ma'at. He's a scribe. He is similar to Metatron, the archangel Metatron, in that he is a writer for and kind of keeper of the Akash. And if you don't know what the Akash is, it is all that has ever happened between people and events on planet Earth. It's all kept in this spiritual library, if you will, of knowledge. So I hope this reading is bringing you some education and something that you haven't seen before. Because a lot of this tarot divination and its connection to our own intuition and our own spirituality, our own sense of something bigger than our egoic self is at play. All right. So I'm going to use the Enigma Tarot, and I will pull 10 cards. We'll look at what is going on in all of your chakras, or the first 7 houses of your zodiac. 7 of water, 7 of cups on the bottom of the deck. This deck is comprised of sketches by Da Vinci. Each sketch is then titled and associated with a card in the tarot. There are major arcana cards, which are the hero's journey. Think of them as chapters. Then you have the court cards, king, queen, knight, and page of each suit or each element: fire, air, water, earth, or in that order: wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. Those suits in the tarot corresponding with the elements. Of course, you can take the elements right into astrology. So there's the overlap. And then each card is also numbered. So in these readings and your exploration and flexing of your intuition as you observe this reading, look for the synchronicities. So that would be, in other words, like what you might have considered to be a coincidence is not a coincidence. It's most likely a synchronicity. There are no coincidences. And that's how, and that's, well, that fact is what led Jung to create the idea of synchronicity. So, 7 of air, 7 of swords. This is Aquarius energy. This would be the 3rd decan of, could be the 7th house, or any of the houses in the sign of Aquarius. Each house is comprised of 30 degrees, and there are 12 houses. That completes a circle of 360 degrees. The first decan is said to be, if your planet is at a degree in the first decan, you're relatively new or young to that energy of that planet, of that placement. Then you have card number 11, a major arcana card. And here it's a strength card. Which is Leo energy. Leo rules the 5th house. The sun rules over the 5th house. So it's masculine. And the 5th house is about what we entertain. And it's about the entertainment industry as well, which is also associated with the sign, astrological sign of Leo. It's where we hold our masculine energy, that is fire energy, that is fixed fire, Leo energy is. It can become quite egoic if it's not high vibing, if it doesn't attach itself to a more, or work its way to more ninth house Sagittarius energy, this archer here, the centaur, if that fire energy in house 5 doesn't burn hot enough or long enough to get to house 9, it's going to lack that elevation of spirit that is required to maintain a good, healthy, spiritual, higher mind expression of self and understanding of your environment. So we go from 7, and I always say this, 7 and 11 are numbers of heaven. And here we have them back to back. Into the Magician. This is Gemini energy, 3rd house, in the 3rd house position. The Magician, here depicted as a self-portrait, is one where the magician is standing before a table where all 4 elements are on the table. You have a sword, you have a cup, you have a pentagram or pentacle, and then you have a wand representing fire, representing spirit, representing passion. And the magician has the right resources. There's a nice balance of the 4 that you need to manifest anything. And the magician does that manifesting by visual. It's with the mind. The magician is Gemini energy. Again, Gemini rules the 3rd house. Mercury rules Gemini, the planet Mercury, which has, an 88-day orbit around the sun. It's super quick and fast and associated with thought, with communication, with messages from the divine, from spirit. So with this action that you've taken in the recent past, and take only what resonates. Parts of of this channeled reading and the ideas that I'm throwing out here aren't going to be for you, not all of them. It's a collective general reading. So in addition to looking for synchronicity and experiencing synchronicity through these readings in your life, thereby gaining a flexibility in your perceiving and your judging functions, also know that mind blank again. I wonder what's up. Oh, I was going to point out that action, okay, you're looking for synchronicities, but also look for areas that you can practice discernment. What is discernment? It's knowing what is yours and what is not yours. It's listening to your intuition as an ENTP, or as an ENTP, doing some guided meditation, really kind of like slowing down. Here I know it says take action, but look, it's a sketch of this baby that's learning to walk, to crawl, to be. So yes, it's action, but it's baby steps of experiencing what it means to be alive, experiencing, all the scrapes and the hurts that you might go through in the learning process, taking baby steps of action. This is leading you to a place where you have a greater control over your thoughts and your mind, and you're better able to manifest in reality, meaning your thoughts are creating your reality. So it's really interesting to as you are moving forward in life, to understand that when you are walking in your true north path, in the direction of your destiny, you're in alignment, not only internally as an ENTP, but externally. It does require going back to the drawing board. And for ENTP, my friend, that's about going inside and spending time with some memories and getting in touch with that sense of your younger self that just loves to learn. I mean, as an ENTP, you love to experience and take in a lot of information, thereby having experience in areas of life that you would have not otherwise in that moment. You can do that with extroverted intuition. I love it. It can be a curse and a blessing, as all dominant functions are, but when we can learn to better balance with the inferior function, or in the case of an ENTP, use your TI. Swords would represent air, and TI, introverted thinking, is air. It's thought. As is magician energy, Gemini energy. As is, well, I said this is the strength card. You know, in the tarot, card number 8 and 11 are sometimes switched. So this reads to me, it's very Leo with that experience. It can be very lustful and associated with passions of experience. Both of them like a sexual nature as well. Love, maybe spiritual love. All right, let's keep on going. I'm going to keep this relatively short. But thorough. Nine of fire in repelling. Nine of wands, Sagittarius energy, ninth house energy. The ninth house is the last of the personal houses. 10, 11, and 12 are more about the public and bigger pictures. Large collective groups. It's a card of resilience. It's often called the wounded healer, which is the comet Chiron in your astrological chart, who is a centaur, who I think helped Achilles, but was wounded during the battle, and because he was a demigod or immortal, he couldn't die, but he was forced to live with that wound that would never heal. So 9 of fire, 9 is a number of completion or nearing a completion, because 10 marks a new beginning after a completion. 9 is whatever spiritual efforts you've been putting in, or maybe this has to do with your own passions or business, because fire and wands is associated with actual business, how you make your money as well, because what energy you put into that process largely determines what you're going to receive back, right? 9 of fire, you might be a Sagittarius. You might be a Gemini. You might be a Libra or an Aquarius. Wow, back to back, 9 and 9. 9 of Pentacles, this time Virgo energy. So 9 of, okay, that's cardinal and that's fixed. So just talk about the energies of the air element in the 7 of air is Aquarius energy. Well, this is either Leo or it can be Libra, but let's say it's Leo because that is the opposite of Aquarius, the sign opposite Aquarius, and it's fixed fire. Then you go to mutable air with Gemini, go to mutable fire with Sagittarius, and mutable pentacles with 9 of earth and roots. This is Virgo energy. Virgo rules the 6th house, which is about work. It's about the mind-body connection. It's about routines. It's about being a perfectionist. But I like to think of it definitely as the mind-body connection, because Gemini energy rules the 3rd house, and the 3rd house is about the mind, left and right hemispheres and how that works. So the 6th house is ruled by Virgo, is about the mind-body connection. And following the 9 of fire, which is Sagittarius, and we go 3, 6, 9, this is confirming for me that this 9 of earth or Virgo energy is definitely, for you, the mind-body connection. How you are mixing your spirituality and your spirit guides, your ancestors, with your earthly experience and the ego. All right. Let's look at the 3rd eye chakra. Let's look at the 6th card, the House of Virgo. All right, Spirit, can I get a card? There we go, thank you. 4 of water, or 4 of cups, Cancerian energy. We got disappointment. There might be some disappointment in your life right now. Also, too, I like to think of 4 of cups as my card of boredom. 4th house is powerful emotional stuff. 4th house is ruled by Cancer, and also the moon rules the 4th house. So it's that home in all of us where we feel home and secure and safe. But there is some sort of disappointment or maybe boredom right now. All right, Crown, Emperor, wow. 4th card of the major arcana. This marks one's, the Emperor is the embodiment, or all 4 kings of the elements, of the suits, rolled into one. This is a business or an empire. This emperor has full control over. Can be tyrannical a bit. Maybe you're an Aries. This represents Aries, who's the leader, ruler of the 1st house of her zodiac, which is all about leadership and the self. Its statement is, I am. Da Vinci was an ENTP, if I didn't mention that. And he was an Aries. He was an Aries sun. I can't remember what moon. Maybe he was an Earth moon. Ace of Pentacles popped out. Aces in the tarot the way I read them, are always given to you by the divine as a new start in that element's energy in your life. So Earth it's the slowest moving of the elements in tarot, but it does represent, I think, the most, in that it represents abundance, not just physical, monetary gain. There is that too, because it's associated with Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. And all the earth signs are the hardest working, literally, of all the signs. We love to work, and work and work and work. We like lots of action and experience, so we can manifest with fire and earth, which I always say are the elements that are key, that are essential. Because if you just had those two, you can manifest a lot of abundance and security in your life. I would say with this prospect for manifestation, if you're taking these actions and living the experience, I think this disappointment that's in your third eye, maybe you're looking at it in the past. See, this Emperor is kind of looking that way. Let's put it this way. I think this is soon to be over because there's a new start with this Ace of Pentacles. But, as an emperor, that's what you do. I mean, you have to really assess where, you went wrong, or where the situation went wrong, or where you stepped off your path. All right, can I get a second card for my ENTPs? And then a third. Thank you. And this one. Ooh, wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Bottom of the deck is the Tower card, number 16. That is Mars energy. That's war. That's destruction of... The Tower represents faith, your foundations that you've built in life. And here in the Deluge card, this is the Great Flood, taking out old foundations and replacing them with a new. Ace of Earth. Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, a new start in your earthly foundations that are going to be built with the Hermit energy. This is Virgo energy and major arcana. This is somebody who's introspective, who understands the mind-body connection, but also is a great manifester. Because they understand the mind-body connection, they can become introspective. They can clear out any past disappointments and really assess their overall situation so that they can best move forward. This is going to create in you this internal journey into what I just described with the Hermit energy, the Virgo energy, understanding what's going on in your mind and your body right now. Where's your fear being triggered, or is it an emotion? So you have emotions in your body and you have thoughts in your head. And often they will trigger one another, right? To no end. So you're in this karmic, this cyclical looping, potentially of disappointment, right? So the Emperor is looking back at all this and deciphering it, and also calling judgment in a way, and saying, hey, you know what? let's get rid of this, let's keep this, let's get rid of this, or no, I'm bored with that. That's not going to bring me anything new. Wow, look at that. And underneath the deluge, same color, almost looking like the same card, you have the Ace of Air. Aces are always given by the divine. Ace is, of Swords is Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, which we have a lot of that energy on the table. A lot of air. This is also my Archangel Michael sword. This is truth, justice, clarity, and represents leaving the Piscean age, which we're flooding. God is flooding right now. Flooding the planet literally with storms and natural disasters, but also flooding our society, our culture, our relationships with a lot of truth that is going to end said connections or relationships, because they're not good for us. They're not aligned with spirit. Yeah, and in a way, it is the end of days, spiritually speaking. But crack open the book of Revelation, give it a read, and see how much of that is actually going on. Obviously, in a prophetic book, or as an ENTP, you might be very skeptical, as I was, or even agnostic or atheist, as I was for many years. It wasn't until I explored cognitive functions theory and was able to better understand my mind-body connection. It was then that I began to see synchronicities in my life that I just could not explain. I couldn't write them off as being chance or coincidence. They were just too great. And I'm talking about repeating numbers and angel numbers and hearing things and my psychic gifts heightening. When you learn to flex your cognitive functions, you actually increase your superpowers. I believe everybody has psychic gifts, everybody is ESP, and especially if you're an intuitive dominant. Please like, subscribe. I'm gonna have readings like this and discussions like this and drawing connections between cognitive functions, the earth elements, astrology, sacred numerology, attachment theory. We'll talk about the Enneagram more. I'm so glad I hope that you joined me here for clicking on this, and as a gesture of reciprocity, and to firmly put your energy into this collective reading. If you got something out of it, please like and subscribe for more readings I will do for the other signs. And before I leave off, what I'm looking for is, and what I'm seeing actually, is a really nice balance of your cognitive functions. You've got some SI with this hermit energy and experience too. Your extroverted intuition here with the Ace of the Magician and the Ace of Earth, Nine of Earth, Nine of Fire. You've got a little bit of Cups energy, emotional energy, but just a little bit. Except for, well, you've got the Tower card, which actually isn't water energy, it's Mars energy, it's more fire. Or if you, it's also associated with the sign of Scorpio, because Mars rules Scorpio and Aries. No, this is just straight up God and events that are bigger. Yeah, God, I say, Emperor. This is a higher power, whether that's you gaining control of your houses, of your intellect, of your emotional body, or a higher power facilitating the changes necessary that we're all going through here down in the 3D on this earth. All right, I hope that helped. Please give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, a share, a comment would be awesome too. Let me know what you think or feel.